Hello, everyone. My name is Orlando Milian. I'm together here with my colleagues Sofia Fertusinhos at the Wishing Whitney Medical Library, and Molly Knapp and Kate Majowski and Rana Morris at National Library of Medicine. We welcome you to this series of talks dedicated to explore the evolution of bioinformatics services in libraries. So the idea of organizing this series originated from the Cruz Whitney Medical Library Bioinformatics Support Hub, celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, which led us to examine the collective past, present, and future of bioinformatics services in libraries. And to share just a little bit of our story, the Bioinformatics Support Hub at the Cruz Whitney Medical Library was launched in 2014, focusing on the retrieval of molecular information from knowledge databases. Between 2015 and 2017, the services increased its collection development, specifically through the licensing of software for data processing and analytical support. The years 2018 to 2021 mark a period of scaling characterized by the introduction of a peer-to-peer teaching program, the establishment of the Symbonis Fellowship, and the creation of a new permanent position dedicated to tools using command line. And from 2022 to 2024, our efforts have been directed towards establishing the strengthening collaborations with various institutional departments and core facilities, further solidifying the service's integral role in the academic and research community. And it was based on this reflection process that we decided to reach out to our colleagues at the National Library of Medicine to organize this series of 7 sessions dedicated to reflect and inspire us to create, develop, and tailor bioinformatics services within our library context. Today, we will be exploring specialized bioinformatics and data management in medical libraries. And our speakers are Dr. Ansuman Chattopadhyay from University of Pittsburgh, Dr. Ndukum from Washington University in St. Louis, and Dr. Manuel de la Cruz Gutierrez from University of Pennsylvania. Each of them are going to have 15 minutes presentation, and we're going to have some Q&A at the end of the presentation. So our first speaker, as I mentioned, Dr. Chattopadhyay, initially trained as a biochemist and molecular biology, he joined the Health Science Library System at University of Pittsburgh to establish the Molecular Biology Information Services in 2002. Under his leadership, the Molecular Bioinformation Services has evolved into a premier institutional resource providing comprehensive bioinformatics and data science support. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to, Ansuna, whenever you're ready to begin.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to express my gratitude to the organizer for giving me the opportunity to present in front of you. My name is Ansuman Chattopadhyay. I serve as the Director for Molecular Biology Information Service offered through the Health Sciences Library System of University of Pittsburgh. So today I am planning to give you a brief introduction to our service. So I want to talk a little bit about the background and how over the years we have evolved. So we started this service since 2002. And at that time, imagine, in 2002, Human Genome Project is just getting completed. So our library started to get questions on complex bioinformatics topics, and library staffs are not trained enough to address those questions. So they realized to hire us research scientists to start this service. So by training, as Ronaldo mentioned, I am a biochemist, molecular biologist. I did my postdoc at Vanderbilt working on cell signaling and cancer biology. So I got this opportunity to develop this service from the scratch. So then the demand grew, and we felt the need for hiring another scientist. And Ibu Chen, now he is also in the audience, running the USC, University of Southern California, a similar kind of service. So he joined, and then, once he left, her position was replaced by Kariyama, another PhD level scientist. And then, around 2017, when next generation sequencing demand is growing, then we felt the need to have a properly trained bioinformatician specialist to add, and then we created that position. And very recently, last year, during summer, our second bioinformatics research scientist, she left, she joined to work with all of us research program. And to fill that position, we recruited a data scientist and who is very proficient in R and Python programming. So that's the way we evolved. This is our org chart. We are 3-person team. I report to our director, library director, associate vice chancellor of health sciences. Although this is the core team, but we get tremendous help from all other departments in the library, specifically digital services and collections. So we primarily serve to 6 schools of health sciences. So those are listed here. But even outside health sciences schools, like schools of arts and sciences, they also get our service. So probably you know, University of Pittsburgh is very research heavy. We are number 6 in NIH funding research. And our user base span across the entire research population, starting from students and research staff to postdocs and faculty members. So this is our website. This is the digital gateway. Pretty much everything, whatever we offer, our users can get access to it. So now what we offer. So we offer a 4-pronged program. We license commercial software and make it freely available to our users. We teach workshops and show how to use this bioinformatics software to solve their research questions. We provide one-on-one consultations, and we also maintain a web portal that providing guidance to all our services. And occasionally we also develop some web tools. And today I want to talk briefly about all these 4 components. So first, starting with licensed software. So we license commercial bioinformatics software. Only though all our licensed software operates through a graphical user interface through point and click. And the reason is our main user base is bench researcher, and traditionally they are not very savvy with computer programming. So our research community, if they want to analyze, sophisticated bioinformatics, analyze their data set, they can use these tools without writing a single line of code. And then we also teach extensively through workshops and mainly through workshops how to apply these tools to solve their research question. We freely distribute this software to our research population. We track our software usage by various means. We track by number of registrations. We track number of usage of the software by tracking the logins per day. And also, the most interesting to us is we also track how many publications are there, which coming from University of Pittsburgh researcher who cite the use of this software in that paper. And we found that HSL-sponsored institutional software licenses result in significant cost savings for the university. So this is the laundry list of all the software we have. So you can see that I mainly divided into 3 groups. One is Sanger sequencing, old school sequencing. Then another one is next generation sequencing, and all the knowledge bases, the databases and others. Most of this software we offer by limited concurrent user seats, but some we have institution-wide unlimited access. And now move to education component of it. Most of the time we spend by teaching. And we find that teaching workshop is the best means of marketing tool, or best marketing tool for our service. So we conduct weekly workshops, and each topics we try to repeat in each semester. Our topics are mainly on bioinformatics and programming languages and so forth. The format is, since 2021, after COVID, is primarily on via remote, via Zoom. We also, apart from teaching workshops, we also deliver as a guest lecturers in for credit classes. And last 2 years, we run a 7-week summer course on mainly for MD PhD student and help them to analyze all of us research data. And I have one separate slides for all of us, so I will talk elaborately on that. So this is, these are the workshop topics we are offering this semester in fall. And you can see that emerging topics in bioinformatics, so that includes, bulk RNA-seq, single-cell RNA-seq, multi-omics, NCBI, gene expression database analysis, and so forth. Our data services related stuff like R and Python, mainly in a bootcamp format, is extremely popular because we offer consecutive classes on those. And then we also started offering all of us. And this semester, we started a brand new topic, use of generative AI. So recently, in last Tuesday, I taught a class, AI-powered literature search and summarization and review. Tremendous interest for that, and around 70 people attended this workshop. So from workshop to from education to research support, we also offer in-depth consultations. So we want to, through our workshop, we teach how to use this software and solve their question. But we really want to know that they're in the right track. So normally via Zoom, one-on-one sessions we offer. And we just want to make sure they are in the right path users are in the right path in their analysis. And at the end, they also want to show us the result, and we want to make sure they followed best practices, whatever we teach, and also help them how to interpret the results. And apart from consultations, we also offer set office hours for both R and Python coding related stuff, as well as for all of us research analysis. So normally now for the all of us research program stuff, normally I try to explain what it is because many people still don't know what it is. But for today's audience, I believe everyone is familiar with it. But still briefly, this is a national NIH sponsored study. This is a longitudinal cohort study. To main goal is to improve human health. And they are trying to recruit 1 million US population. But in this case, they are unique because 80% of the populations from where we are getting the health data is coming from people who are traditionally underrepresented in research. So this tremendous health data is available to our users, but we found that the access to the data set, like onboarding process and analyzing the data, is quite convoluted task. So we thought we have enough opportunity to offer classes to train our people, our researchers, so they can take full advantage of it. So we took variety of initiatives. So these are I listed here. We are in the library. So we created a LibGuide page, showing or having instruction on onboarding, research scopes, how they can use it, and what the training opportunities are. We conduct monthly workshops on all of us researcher workbench. We provide office hours and consultations. We develop a self-paced learning module like Coursera style. We also created code template because we found that analyzing the data, it requires good understanding of statistics and the proficiency in R and Python coding. So we created, but we know that many of our researchers are not that programming savvy. So we created a code template, and using that code template, just by changing minimal changes, like changing the variables and all those things, anyone can able to perform a sophisticated statistical analysis for common tasks like binary association between two conditions or genome-wide association study and so forth. And then finally, as I mentioned, from last summer, 2-year consecutive, we taught a summer course to our MD PhD student, and their focus is on how to use this all of us data, all of us research program generated data. Okay, so then this is the last one. Yes, okay. Then I mentioned that we also created web tools. So these are the 3 things I wanted to mention. At the very beginning, when we joined, Ibu Chen, who first joined with us, he created this online bioinformatics resource collections. It's a catalog of all bioinformatics tool. At that time, it was popular. It is not maintained really well, but still we see that a lot of people outside University of Pittsburgh, they are still using it. We also created a search engine for preprint. This is when preprint started, before COVID. At that time, just preprint started, but it was not indexed by PubMed and other databases. So just to discover, we created a search bio preprint, a search engine specifically for preprints, for scientific preprints. And then we also created another tool, Info Booster. These are all linked, hyperlinked. So if anyone interested, you can go and check. And I think as I already going to share, or you already got the link to my slides. We do active collaboration with the other departments. So one is Center for Research Computing. They maintain our high performance cluster, and lot of our licensed software are also hosted by them. We partnered with Department of Biomedical Informatics because they are expert in electronic health records. So we get their help to develop all of us workshops. And from our human genetics department, our colleague, she runs the R boot camps. So how we can reach out to our user base? And several ways we do it, but I think is one of the method which we found is extremely useful is we publish a bi-weekly blog. And in that blog, we highlight all our classes, or if there any update of a software, we also highlight that. And also if there any local conference going on that might interest to our research population, we do that. We send this via email. We created a mailing list of around 2,600 people who normally register for our software or the people who come to our workshops. So these are targeted audience, and we send that, and pretty much we got a good feedback. Most of them, they learn about our classes through reading this blog. Finally, our resources are well utilized. These two slides I just copy paste from our annual report. This is regarding financial 2024. So one thing I just want to mention here is all our workshops are recorded, and after the workshop we send it to them and host them. So you can see that last year around over 900 people we taught by teaching 51 sessions, but around 500 people they have gone through our recording and they can do it on their own speed and own time. So that is really, really helpful. And another thing is regarding software. I just want to mention that this one always excites me. Last 2 years since 2023, over 300 publications where Pitt researchers cited the use of our license tool. And and then this is if you are more interested for learning what we have done, we wrote a paper in Briefings in Bioinformatics back in 2020, and you can get a whole understanding, much detail about our service. But I created a AI-generated podcast style 9-minute stuff you can listen after this webinar, and created by Google Notebook LM. So I hope I give you a brief introduction to our service, and I will be happy to answer any question. I think at the end of this presentation, I will be delighted to answer if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ansuman, for this great presentation, giving us this overview of all the services, the amazing services that you provide. And I'm going to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Ndukum from Washington University in St. Louis. Dr. Ndukum is one of the senior support scientists in Bernard Becker Medical Library at Washington University in St. Louis School of Medicine. Mace manages licensing and training services from some popular software used in bioinformatics and biomedical informatics research. She also provides research computing services, including educational efforts to address the need for basic Unix, R, and Python programming skills, and access to shared high-performance computing resources at Washington University School of Medicine. Mace, whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Okay. Okay, can you see my slides okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. And thank you so much, the organizing committee, for inviting Becker Library to represent in this series. I'm going to talk about the specialized bioinformatics and data management services at Becker Library. I joined Becker Library in 2014, and the service had already started. So I learned some of the history from those who are already who were there at the time it started. But currently, just to highlight where Becker is located in the organizational structure, currently Becker is part of the Office of Health Information and Data Science, and you can see here where Becker lies, along with the Institute for Informatics, Data Science, and Biostatistics, as well as the Office of the Chief Research Information Officer. All these centers, with the offering of degree programs, put us in a nice position where collaboration is fostered across research teams in terms of bioinformatics research, informatics, and biomedical research, as well as supporting the education and health practice. So also keep in mind, similar to what Ansuman said, Washington University is also a global leader in academic and biomedical research and patient care, as well as their educational programs. There are over 2,900 faculty members on our medical campus. And WashU Med School is the second largest NIH funded med school, and annually they commit about $1 billion on basic and clinical research innovation. So all the several departments and research centers place us in a nice position to provide us research support. So basically today we'll just try to answer a few questions about the specialized services for bioinformatics and data management. So we'll see how the need was determined and then learn how the service was offered and what the impact is. So basically the need was determined by the requests that came from researchers. So that's what's driving our service. Everything that we've done is basically responding to requests from the researchers. So before 2003, we want to keep in mind Washington University was one of the sites for the Human Genome Project. They sequenced like a third of the human genome, and when the project, it ran from 1990 to 2003. By the time it ended, additional research projects came up, like the Biomed 21 project, which now was looking at function of genes in association to disease. And so around that time, faculty members, researchers would come to the library asking questions related to bioinformatics. We do have a publication, the Medical Reference Services Quarterly, describing the Becker Medical Library's bioinformatics program, how it's kicked off. So the questions that came in at that time were mostly related to data searches, like searching the NCBI databases like Entrez and BLAST. And then, the library being a central place for information resource, for campus researchers, they were really wanting to help, but quickly recognize the need for that kind of specific skill within the library. So a bioinformatics specialist was hired. This was someone who had a strong bioinformatics background and a statistics background. And they started by offering courses on the NCBI databases. Requests continued to come in, repeated requests, and more variety of questions. So the program grew. And by 2006, a second bioinformatics specialist was hired. This time, their background was in biochemistry. The questions now continue to come in, and at some point, a research needs survey and focus groups were also done to continue to understand what the requests are and how they can be how services can be provided. So now let's talk about how service was delivered. The first bioinformatics specialist who was hired started offering the NCBI related classes, also did in-depth consultations. So here is a picture of typically what the reference desk looked like back in the day in 2003 when the program initiated. At that time, Becker Library had a reference desk, and librarians would take turns spending 2 hours at the desk just answering questions from patrons. And the newly hired bioinformatics specialist was rolled into that schedule, and they also had 2 hours to answer questions from patrons. These led to identification of more specific researcher needs in terms of software that was needed, databases, and this is how it increased whatever tasks the bioinformatics specialist would do in terms of now taking on negotiating license agreements and also initiating Becker's software licensing program. So some of the software that were in place were like Spotfire, Decision Site for Functional Genomics, Biotech Genomics Suite, Biotech Flow, Ingenuity Pathway Analysis, and a variety of other genomics data analysis tools, as well as databases like the CAKE database. But since this is a cost recovery program, we provided software that was requested by faculty members, but also that the faculty members were willing to pay for, since the library did not have a budget for just providing software to everyone for free. So you can think of the fact some of the software that we investigated didn't really pull through. Another offering which was offered through the library was the Genomics in the Era of Personalized Medicine lecture series. This was done in collaboration with several departments, including genetics, medicine, pathology, and it was sponsored by the Institute of Clinical and Translational Science NIH Award. It was a year-long lecture program with 26 lectures and over 1,000 attendees. The bioinformatics specialist served as the host as well as course master for those who took this as a class through the Masters for Clinical Investigation program. By 2015, the program had continued to grow, as well as the need broadened, and there was a need to change the name of the program from Bioinformatics at Becker to Science Support. And so the staff members now were called support scientists, and so a support scientist was hired. There was more questions about programming in addition to the bioinformatics related questions, and so we continue to collaborate with other groups on campus to meet needs. Training like Epigenome Day, training like the Galaxy Genomic Data Analysis Platform training for residents and fellows was done by a science support group in the library, and this was through the Division of Laboratory Medicine in the Department of Pathology. So annually we would teach this class, and the need for high performance computing skills, we also got questions about that, and so we started collaborating with our Center for High Performance Computing. They have this infrastructure that provided the computing service, and users could connect and run big data and use more computing resources for their research. But there were always hurdles for those who were just new to this platform and just didn't have like Unix knowledge or knowing how to use the queuing system. So two things that we collaborated with the Center for Performance Computing with was having some genomic software installed on the cluster, and we in the library would manage the user accounts and provide support as well as facilitate training. So we had Galaxy as well as Biotech Flow installed over there. We also partnered with them in developing and teaching programming language workshops, so introductory to R and Python workshops, basic workshops to teach data exploration and data visualization. We also taught high-performance computing topics like command line, text editors, shell scripts, batch scripts, and how to connect and run jobs on the computing cluster. So science support was under the Division of Translational Research Support in the library, and by 2018, the service has continued to grow, and we're getting more questions about data management, questions that our partners at the main campus data services couldn't really support. We at the med school realized we needed to provide support for our campus, med campus researchers. And the Institute for Informatics was recently launched in 2016. and Becker Library immediately started collaborating with that institute. Together with the Institute for Informatics, a new senior support scientist was hired who would focus on data management and sharing, and they provided support for REDCap, the Research Electronic Data Capture Platform, and MD Clone by teaching workshops and introducing how to manage your clinical data on those platforms, but also supporting basic lab with data management workshops. We also collaborated with members from the core services at the Institute for Informatics to teach, and they would teach the advanced R workshops focused on genomic data analysis like single-cell RNA-seq analysis, mRNA-seq analysis, as well as advanced data visualization classes that we ourselves had not offered previously. So service has continued to grow, and a number of other changes happened like during COVID. And now we are now under the division of research services, split into two services. So division of research services has a variety of services like our scholarly publishing, and now we also have research computing, data management and sharing as services under that division. So research computing continues to support those workshops and the software licensing, and our data management and sharing has really ramped up due to the new NIH data management and sharing policy that was announced in January 2023. So two new senior support scientists were hired to support this effort. They help researchers to manage data and write data management and sharing plans. They help researchers to share data in repositories, including omics data. So in terms of the impact, we can see that researchers really rely on us. Several in the library are included in committees across the university. We have strong partnerships which enable us to connect researchers to what they need. And our workshops, especially the research computing workshops, reduce barriers and increase accessibility to the resources that researchers need. So we hear things like, hey, thanks, this session was very helpful. This is the first time I feel like I'm understanding how to use Docker and LSF. This will be helpful as I try to start using these resources. So this is what we like to hear, because we see ourselves like where we can provide, where people can start and actually consider using that resource. So partnering with the Center for High Performance Computing and now with the Research Infrastructure Services, the main group that provides high performance computing to the whole university, just helps us that we can, being very like less technical than the staff over there, we can create content that can demystify things for some of our researchers who did not have any formal training in computing during their PhD or postdoctoral training. We also get feedback that can also give us constructive information of how to improve our sessions. So like the one here says, hi Mazi, great presentation. Can we use R to generate heat maps? So things like that give us information of how to improve or what to add to our next offerings. And I just included here a bar plot just for one of the types of workshops, the research computing workshops. You can see this is showing the attendance in the past years. Just in 2022 and 2023, we offered over 25 sessions with like 900 in attendance. And from 2020, these have been offered on Zoom. And bear in mind that the registrations quite outnumber the attendance. And we really don't have information about those going back to review, but we do get requests for a recording or the slides, and yeah. So there are several people who have been involved throughout the years to grow our program. I'm just listing here just a few. Paul Schoening is still the director at Becker. He was there in the very beginning of the bioinformatics program. Neville and Bob Engerzer also served as directors. Bob Engerzer actually was my supervisor who hired me when I joined Becker. Librarians Carol Murray and Kim Lipsey were highly involved in the initial development of the program, and Kim is still at Becker, and so she was very helpful to give me the history, as well as Philip Skraska, who shared, he's one of our archivists, and he shared some of the history with me, as well as the lovely pictures. The pioneer bioinformaticists, Lily Wang, Christy, Holmes, and Marcy, they really worked hard to get our program from the ground for it to grow. So, but currently, Marcy serves as the Associate Director for Research Services. So Marcy was a bioinformaticist and then became a Senior Support Scientist. She became the Associate Director for Division of Data and Research Computing, and now she's the Director for Research Services, the division that that we are under, research computing and data management and sharing. So our data management and sharing team includes Sung-Young Kim and Jing Jiang, and I focus mostly on the research computing side. We collaborate a lot with other colleagues in the library, especially with the software licensing, managing the software licensing and distributing software in the library, and that's pretty much
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's amazing, impressive. All the resources and services. Yeah. And sake of time, I'm going to present our third speaker, Dr. Manuel de la Cruz Gutierrez from University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Gutierrez is the director of the Holman Biotech Commons, the main biomedical library of the University of Pennsylvania. Originally from Mexico, here his BS in physics from University of Guadalajara, a PhD in optics from University of Rochester, and a master's in library science from Texas Woman's University. Thank you so much, Manuel, whenever you're ready.
Okay, can everyone hear me and see my slides?
Yes.
My presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for the invite to talk about the bioinformatics and data management, data visualization services that we offer here at Penn Libraries. Although I will take a bit of a centric approach, given that I'm the director of the Holman Biotech Commons, which is the main health sciences libraries at University of Pennsylvania. To tell you, so you get a context of the population that we serve. We have our university is quite large. We have over 10,000 undergrads and over 13,000 grad students. And as you know, and professional students, as you know, those are the ones that will require more of these services that we're going to talk about today. Yeah, so this is the breakdown of the kind of students that we have, and these are the 4 schools that offer undergraduate degrees. But more importantly for this talk is the graduate school graduate student school population. So you can see here, there's quite a bit of engineering students. Many of them are master's students, but I will point out to you that the ones that probably use most of our services is the Perelman School of Medicine and the School of Nursing. And we do have 2 other libraries, one for veterinary medicine and one for the dental medicine school. We have quite a large amount of faculty. As you can see, there's over 5,000 faculty members that have received several accolades. But I also want to point out that here at an institution like Penn, we actually work a lot with the staff. And just so you get an idea, those are the kind of staff and faculty, make nearly 20,000 of them. Some of our staff they are just people that are very talented and comes with a lot of skills to the job. So we do provide quite a bit of services to them. And then we have an associated health system, which has over 30,000 employees. And you can see even like the house staff of the health system is more than 1,500 people. We also manage quite a bit of money. As you can see, there's been the endowment is quite large, and there's a lot of contribution from alumni. And regarding sponsored projects, is over 1 billion just in awards for sponsored projects. And we do have a lot of research centers and institutes. The research faculty, which is different from the standing faculties, is about 5,000, and we have quite a few postdoctoral fellows, and as I said, other academic support staff and graduate student trainees that make up to a population of 6,000 people. And you see in there the research budget, and the total university budget is over $14 billion. So this is the kind of a research enterprise and educational enterprise and practice enterprise that we are to support. So let's talk first about the bioinformatics services that we provide here at Penn Libraries. They are mainly centered here at the Holman Biotech Commons, which, as I said before, is the biomedical library, the main health sciences library here at University of Pennsylvania. Our main population is the health system, the Paramount School of Medicine and the School of Nursing, and a few biologically related programs in the School of Arts and Sciences. We recently hired a bioinformatics librarian. This is a new position for us. I started building from the ground up the bioinformatics services about 10 years ago. I did not have a background on bioinformatics, so I had to develop it, just to develop it on the go. But I quickly realized that I needed expert help, so I started first with interns. I had about 3 interns. A couple of them just lasted, actually 4 interns. A couple of them just lasted, I don't know, like 6 months, and you cannot really start a program with that. It wasn't until I hired the last intern just before COVID that we really got the ground running. And that was, about in 2019. At that point, we had already licensed our first database, Biopsych. And more recently, we have licensed RepBase. And what I'm writing in here, the subtitle here is important in that our service really targets gaps across the university. The university does have research cores that provide bioinformatics services, that provide biomedical informatics services such as biostatistics, consulting, and support, access to databases, support for RedCap. All of that is already covered. So when we were developing these services, is where are we seeing gaps? And we saw that the Paramount School of Medicine, the School of Arts and Science already had, again, a lot of these services established or already expertise within it. But the veterinary medicine school or the dental school, sometimes they wanted to get into bioinformatics and they really did not have much support. So anyways, this has allowed this establishment of the service has allowed us to now hire a librarian, which has done some consultation. These are modest numbers. We are still like developing that model of the consultations. Most of the effort has been on workshops. Nitu teaches 2 workshops, one on Biopsych and the other on the kind of like a tour of the NCBI databases. But she also supports Cytoscape and Galaxy. And we also have a web portal, a LibGuide for those that are familiar with that, to resources not only for the ones that we provide, but also for other resources on campus. We try to connect people to resources that exist already there. And NITU is also a liaison to the Institute of Biomedical Informatics, which is a partner that, again, has the potential for us to cover more of those gaps and see where we can partner with them. We have done it in the past, but after COVID, we have not gone back to a position where we can partner more effectively with them. NITU also is a liaison to the Biomedical Graduate Studies, which is a PhD program of the School of Medicine that includes an extensive computational biology program. And she's also the liaison to the biomedical postdoctoral programs, which is the program that manages all the postdocs in the School of Medicine and those that have to do with biology-related disciplines in the School of Engineering, Arts and Sciences, in the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and the School of Arts and Sciences as well. And then one final thing that I want to mention that NITU does not do, but I will be remiss to mention, is that one of our librarians, Carlos Rodriguez, co-teaches a class with Judith Currano, the chemistry librarian at the School of Arts and Sciences, on chemical information. This is a 4-credit class. And Carlos in there covers BLAST and other resources from NCBI that Judith Currano has determined that the students should know about. Moving on to data management services. I think in here the big one is that we provide data management sharing plan review consultations, and this is led by Linda Kellam and Lauren Febley at the Department of Research Data and Digital Scholarship, which is separate from Holman. Since December of 2022, we have reviewed, and we say we because this is a service where the subject librarians are involved, in that we bring subject matter expertise to the review of the plans, whereas Linda and Lauren provide a more of the overview of are we hitting the points in the plan that are necessary as outlined in the policies. So anyways, 74 plans have been reviewed by the service. As you can see, most of them have been with NIH, and about 63% have undergone the normal review process, where this is something where either Linda or Lauren review the plan and then involve one of the subject librarians, and quite a few of them have undergone expedited review process, where either Linda or Lauren are the ones that do the review only by themselves, because people want it just right away. As you can see, most of the submitters are associated with the School of Medicine, following by dental and then nursing, and very little for other schools. Annenberg is our School of Communication. And in a survey that Lauren conducted last year, she only got 9 responses, but all of them gave the service high rankings, with 100% stated that they found the feedback useful, and 100% that they will recommend the service. Another thing that I think it was worth mentioning for this group is that Lauren, Linda, Nitu, and I work on a checklist for data repository. This came out from a repository managed by neurology research, by a neurology center here at Penn. And they needed to present on how the repository was meeting the FAIR principles, and they turned to the library to help with that, in that they needed to translate high-level conceptual FAIR principles into specific criteria to evaluate their own data repository. Lauren went to check the literature and noticed that all self-assessment of the FAIR guidelines were for data creators rather than repository managers. In this case, that was the population we were targeting with this. So through an iterative process, Nitu, Linda, Lauren, and I created a self-assessment tool for repository managers regarding the FAIR principles, and we got some feedback back from from these managers that we were working with. Linda and Lauren did a presentation at iAssist. And if you want to go and check out the list, I have put in here the DOI, and that is in our repository. That's where you can find it. Finally, I'm going to talk about visualization services here at Penn Libraries. They are distributed in that we really don't coordinate much. The research data and digital scholarship, they have their own experts and workshops, mainly focus on perhaps R and Python as in regard to visualization. The business library here at Penn Libraries supports Tableau and also might do some a bit of support only for the school, for Wharton, for the School of Business. And here at Holman, Nito and I provide support for Cytoscape and Voice Viewer. And also I have done in the past consultations on better data visualizations, and that somebody brings me a data visualization and I tell them what they could change to make it either more impactful or that might communicate better what they want to show. I also provide 2 workshops that I teach every semester. Probably I teach like 1 or 2 of them a semester. The first one is a 1.5-hour workshop on good design practices and data storytelling. And the other is a mini workshop just over 20 minutes on just the data storytelling part of the larger workshop. They get very good attendance, and it's something that I particularly like to teach. Well, with that, I thank you for attending, and I hope we get a chance to share among ourselves the experiences that you have in making these services great at our libraries. Oh, I will be remiss to say that I think Jennifer Legge-Mansura, which is one of our librarians that is attending, I think she also has helped review some of those data management and sharing plans.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, our speakers. And do we have any questions in the chat?
So far, we don't have questions, so folks may need a minute to think about, oh, we got one already. All right, thank you, Yubu. So the question is, how generally your library's top leadership views your bioinformatics program? So I think this is a question for each one of you. Is it a nice boutique service program or part of the library's essential service offering? So Ansuman, you want to start with, or sorry, Manuel, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will be very brief. Our previous university librarian actually created the bioinformatics librarian position. Like, it was not a repurposed position, it was a brand new position because the university was having a push on STEM disciplines, hiring a lot of new faculty members, and there were several new positions, and the bioinformatics librarian was a newly created one. So in that case, she saw it as this was key for us to support these new programs.
Thanks, Manuel. Ansuman, do you want to take that next?
Yeah, I am blessed because in University of Pittsburgh, we always get tremendous support from the higher authority. So whenever we want to license something or adding new stuff, I never have any problem. Only thing is that I have to justify that, why we are doing it. So the Ibu's question is whether it's a nice boutique service or essential service. I think is it considered as an essential service, and I hope until I retire, it will remain like that.
That's good to hear. Dr. Ndukum?
Yes, so I've been at Becker Library since 2014, and my experience is the bioinformatics service is an essential service from my impression, and as it's just continued to grow, I'll say, for example, the software program, the researchers are willing to do a cost recovery program, and any new offerings that we offer just get so well received that, even our library director is always pleased if we bring up new ideas, because we are always just trying to respond to the requests from the researchers. We get enormous support from the Office of Information and Data Science, now that we are part of that center. And so, yes, yeah, I would say it's essential.
Thank you. So very good to hear. Kimberly has another a question for, I think, all of you again. How does your organization manage its internal research publications for grant reporting? Does anyone use Pure Elements Converse? I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry, or something else? Who would like to start on that one?
We were going to implement symplectic elements here, and at the end, after years of investing, the School of Medicine pulled out, so we didn't. And they were back to square one, so self-report, and perhaps they do some searches online, which is not the best.
At our university, I mean, our library, there is another division who manages data services as well as scholarly communication, all those things. So all those tools you mentioned I am not familiar with it, and I am not engaged in that process.
Yeah, my response is similar to Ansuman's. We have a scholarly publishing group. Yeah, I know we have research profiles and Elsevier products, but yeah, I can't answer this question really well for you. Sorry.
All right, thank you. I don't see any other questions, so maybe we'll just pause a moment while people are thinking about questions.
I have a question. So
Oh.
it was interesting to see. I think Manuel referred to some of the things that they did that didn't work, like using I think it was a residence to run a program. You cannot do that. We have to have some stable stuff. But I would like to hear about these. What are the strategies or things that you have tried to implement that didn't work? So especially for Ansuman and Maze, Manuel referred a little bit of some of these things.
Results that never get published.
Can you repeat it? I have some problems.
Yeah, what kind of strategies or ideas that you tried to implement that didn't work? Like,
we tried something, didn't work. I think it's pretty much many things didn't work. So when I joined, I came straight from postdoctoral research. So when I started this program, I never took traditional librarian approach because I don't have any knowledge in library science and all those things. So I take everything like a research experiment. And people who did research experiment, they know that 90% things doesn't work. So so that's why exactly whenever we started some new topic of our workshops or something like that, sometimes many times it failed, we dropped it. We license the commercial software we license. We never did need survey, which is very common for library world. Because I was coming from postdoc, whatever need I felt when I was a postdoc, I used that hat and try to fill that gap, and not everything was successful. Some license we software we licensed and it was never been utilized. I mean, one example is variant analysis software. It was so common, we thought we should have it, so we licensed that, but for some reason it never gained traction, so we dropped it. So I think is many things we tried, we never afraid of trying new things. We try, and then if it doesn't work, then we got a tremendous support from our higher authority. We never they never ask why you spend this money and it was never been used and all those things. So yeah, so I mean, it's a trial and error, and that's the way we survived.
Amazing.
Yeah, so there's some things also didn't work for us. Our software licensing program, since it's a cost recovery, we do get requests for, hey, can you check if some other people on campus are using this software and we can help us negotiate, cheaper prices. So that process involves, checking in with everybody else who is using it, inviting the company to come and do training, provide like a trial period for using the software. And then at the end of the day, maybe the researchers will say, oh, they're offering the price, is still too high. We just, can't pay for it. And so that falls falls off. So that's one example of something that didn't work. And we did that for several offerings that didn't work. And as the years go by, since it's a cost recovery, we have to check in, are you going to use it again next year? So if we did a negotiation like a contract for 1 year or 3 years, when it comes renewal time, we have to go back to researchers, a lot of emailing and surveys. Are you still going to be using this tool? And when they say yes, we see who says yes, and what will be the new terms, and will they still accept to use it? So things fall off and new things come on the list. And as the years have gone by and the service has evolved, we've kind of moved a little bit away from the software licensing offering, because the teaching has just involved so much more. The demand for the programming language skills is of higher demand. So we have actually stepped back from doing new software requests. So things have just continued to fall off in the last 3 years, I would say. Also, we get invited to support like a class, degree class offerings. Sometimes they might invite us one time, and then the next year they might think like, okay, no, we don't think we need you this year. I don't know if that's like something that didn't work out, or yeah. So things like that can happen. When we started collaborating with Center for High Performance Computing, and both of us who were support scientists at the time, we basically didn't have background in computing. So we also served, like, I would say, guinea pig. So we kind of learned what the system is and how to use it, and then helped create the material. Like, think of ourselves like when we were in the lab, because we all did PhD, did postdoc. Okay, if I was in the lab, what would be useful for me? And it was great to be heard. Like, the staff at the Center for High Performance Computing were willing to listen to our feedback. So the initial workshops, there were a lot more frustration from the attendees, but then when we made changes and provided our feedback, we could see how people found, like, the examples, the code, us including output and what output would look like, things like that, like examples that worked, even though we have to explain that it doesn't work all the time, but you come to our workshop so you can see how things might work. So the initial offerings, I would say they failed many times. Yeah, but things improved.
So once again, thank you so much to all of you for this great presentation. We have learned so much from you. And thank you so much to our organizer for providing this platform, this opportunity to gather around this topic, bioinformatics. Next week, we're going to continue these conversations, these discussions about how the libraries collaborate with the course. We're going to have two great presenters. We're going to share their experiences, and we're going to learn a lot from them. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
3 minutes past the hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for watching. This video was produced by the network of the National Library of Medicine. Select the circular channel icon to subscribe to our channel, or select a video thumbnail to watch another video from the channel.